Will the House come to order, Mr. Clerk?
Aloha and good afternoon. Today's invocation will be delivered by Representative Jean Ward. Will the members who wish to participate please rise?
Please be seated. Surprise. Mr. Speaker, the small progress we have made over the last 4 or 5 weeks of continual debate, we probably all feel the need for more political wisdom, since it seems that we've been running around in search of it. In this situation, this body groping around in the dark to find political truth and scarce able to distinguish it from that which, when it is presented to us. How has this happened, Mr. Speaker? That we have not now, heretofore, once thought of humbly applying to the Father of lights to illuminate our understanding. Have we forgotten our powerful friend? Do we imagine that we no longer need his assistance? The longer I have lived, the more convincing proofs I see in this truth, that God governs in the affairs of men, and if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, it is probable that an empire or the state of Hawaii can rise without his aid. We have been assured, Mr. Speaker, in the sacred writings that except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain who build it. I firmly believe this, and I also believe that without his concurring aid, we shall not succeed in this political building any better than they did when they tried to build the Tower of Babel. I therefore beg leave to move that henceforth prayers imploring the assistance of heaven and its blessing on our deliberations be held in this house every morning that we proceed in our business. The question is, who wrote this speech? I just gave it, but who wrote it? That's a question. Remember the one that if a sparrow falls to the ground, and if God knows it, that means he watches over it. This is Ben Franklin, 1787, for you historians. But then the bigger question is, do we still need providence, divine providence, in the state of Hawaii, in this august body? Now, I'm a little bit older than some of you, but I agree with Ben Franklin that in my perception of history, nothing good happens in politics without divine providence. Look at the formation of this nation. Look at the Civil War when we were ripping each other apart. And all the things that happened since then, and some of the things that are tearing us now. Divine providence is the difference, in my view. As human beings, men and women, we're simply not smart enough to do it on our own. So let me end with this very brief prayer. I say to you, Father God, please bless this body and each representative with divine wisdom as we listen to the people of Hawaii, deliberate on this floor, and vote for a better Hawaii. We thank you for your divine assistance, especially for Speaker Saiki and all the committee chairs and leaders, and the reminder today by Ben Franklin that we are not alone in this House chamber, but with each other, every one of us. So God bless this chamber, its members, and the people of the great state of Hawaii. Amen.
Thank you, Representative Ward. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Aquino, Ms. Bellotti, Mr. Bronco, Ms. Clark, Ms. Eli, Mr. Ganadin, Mr. Gates, Ms. Har,
Present.
Mr. Hashem, Mr. Hashimoto, Mr. Holt,
Here.
Ms. Ichiyama, Mr. Iligan, Mr. Johansson, Ms. Capella, Ms. Kitagawa, Mr. Bertrand Kobayashi, Mr. Dale Kobayashi,
Here.
Mr. Kong, Mr. Lopresti, Ms. Lowen,
Here.
Ms. Luke, Ms. Martin, Mr. Matayoshi,
Here.
Ms. Matsumoto, Mr. McDermott, Mr. McKelvey,
Aye.
Mr. Mizuno, Ms. Morikawa, Ms. Nakamura, Mr. Nakashima, Mr. Nishimoto, Mr. Ono, Ms. Okimoto, Mr. Onishi, Ms. Peruso,
Here.
Mr. Quinlan, Mr. Sayama, Mr. Takayama, Mr. Takumi, Mr. Tam, Mr. Tarnas, Mr. Todd, Mr. Tokioka,
Present. Yeah.
Mr. Ward, Ms. Wildberger,
Here.
Mr. Woodson, Mr. Yamane, Mr. Yamashita, Mr. Speaker.
Present.
Mr. Speaker, all 50 members are present.
Item 2, reading of the journal. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move we dispense with the reading of the journal of the 7th through the 10th days and approve the same as though read throughout.
Representative Matsumoto.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The motion is carried. Item 3, Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the governor?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of Governor's Message Number 6, informing the House the United Public Workers and the employer have reached an agreement concerning Collective Bargaining Unit 1 on February 14, 2022, and transmitting proposed measures to fund the award. May this matter be received and filed.
So ordered. Item 4, Mr. Clerk, are there any Senate communications?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of a communication transmitting the noted Senate bill having passed third reading in the Senate.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Senate bill laying on the clerk's desk pass first reading by title.
Representative Matsumoto.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The motion is carried. Members who are on item 5, reports of standing committees. Representative Bellotti.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adopt Standing Committee Report numbers 462-22 through 552-22 as listed on pages 1 through 23, and that the accompanying House bills as may be amended pass second reading and/or be referred to their designated committees.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All right, members, is there any discussion beginning with SCR number 462 on page 1? Next page, 463, 464, 465, 466. Representative Ward.
Speaker, with reservations on 466, please.
So ordered.
This is the relating to education, which is actually a great gesture for those families who have low income. They can get a scholarship for their kids. And this bill reminds me that 48% of the people of Hawaii, the ALICE study says they're one paycheck away from homelessness. The difficulty I have with this is that this is supposed to incentivize education, but there's no nexus between their kids in school and the amount of money. My fear is that they get an extra few $100, they're not going to spend it on their kids' education, which I would hope that this bill would be aimed for. So for those kids who are poor and the really high achievers, I would say by all means we should just let it go. But some of those are perhaps not. And as I said in the earlier speech, the highest correlation between student achievement is parental involvement. If the kids don't have their parents care about what they're doing, the kids don't care. The parents don't care, the kids don't care. So this thing is, it's missing the nexus between the parents and the kids to give the kids an incentive to excel in school. Otherwise, I'm not sure why we're doing this, because otherwise they have welfare and other things to subsidize them, and this is for educational purposes, but it needs a nexus. For those reasons, Mr. Speaker, I think we can improve it. Thank you.
Representative Capello.
No vote, Mr. Speaker.
So ordered. Further discussion? Representative Peruso.
No vote, please.
No vote. So ordered. Representative Ganadin.
No vote.
So ordered. Further discussion?
Mr. Speaker.
Representative Lopresti.
Reservations.
So ordered. For Representative Tam.
Reservations.
So ordered. Further discussion? If not, next
Mr.
page.
Speaker, reservations for Wildberger, please.
Representative Wildberger, reservations. So ordered. Further discussion? If not, next page, 467, 468, 469, 470. Next page, 471. Representative Okimoto.
With reservations, please.
So ordered. 472, 473, 474. Next page, 475, 476. Representative Okimoto.
With reservations, please.
So ordered. 477, 478. Next page, 479, 480, 481. Representative Okimoto.
Reservations, please.
So ordered. 482. Okay, Representative.
Reservations for Wildberger.
Hold on,
please,
hold
Mr.
on,
Speaker.
hold on. Representative Todd.
All right, thank you. I first wanted to start, I'm in support. I'd like to thank the chairs on Agriculture and Consumer Protection and Commerce for hearing the measure and moving things along. I do think that it's important, it's part of an important conversation about how we're going to make good on our strategic agricultural goals that we've set for ourselves, but also trying to find the proper balance between meeting those goals and ensuring that we are a good steward for our public trust lands. So I'm excited that we're having this conversation. Just for perspective, this bill only would apply to the neighbor islands. And specifically, the issue I'm trying to address is that in East Hawaii, we have 2 agricultural parks, one in Panaewa, just outside of my district, and one in Pohoa. And in those areas, over 90% of those leases are due to expire in the near future. In the Panaewa area, 20 out of 22 will expire on the exact same day. Those leases average around 12 acres, so relatively small family-run farms. And in the Pohoa area, 90% of them will expire in a 6 to 7 year window, and those farms average at about 8 acres. So what we're trying to address specifically is these small family operations. These are not large industrial farm enterprises. And the fact that we do not have the demand to replace these farms as it currently stands. The current waiting list on the Big Island specifically, which is island-wide, is about 50 who have actually shown interest. That does not mean that they will have the qualifications or the follow-through necessary to actually take on these leases should they expire. It's also worth noting that these leases do not expire tomorrow, so anyone expressing interest currently would not necessarily be interested in taking on those leases down the road. So to me, we do have a problem to address, and it's not the fact that we have these leases held by current productive small family farms, but the problem that we need to address is the lack of agricultural land made available on the neighbor islands to meet this demand. So if we are 50 short, or whatever that metric would be for fully qualified, bona fide farmers, whether it ends up being 20 to 30 that can actually meet those qualifications and who are interested, then we should simply open up another agricultural park to make those lands available. The response should not be essentially forcing these folks to relocate if they have the funding or to shut down. Nothing is accomplished if we do that. But I do recognize that there is an important balance to strike here between providing a fair opportunity for farmers to enter these lands while also ensuring that the lands continue to be productive and that we move towards our strategic goals. So once again, I'd just like to thank the body for continuing the conversation. And I recognize that there is more work to do to strike that proper balance. And I'm committed to doing my best to find that balance. Thank you.
Okay, Representative Martin.
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Representative Capella.
No vote, please.
So ordered. Representative Tam.
With reservations.
So ordered. Representative Wildberger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, with
So ordered. Representative Peruso.
with reservations, please.
So ordered. Is there further Representative Bronco?
With reservations.
So ordered. Representative Bellotti.
With reservations.
So ordered. Representative Gannon.
Same request.
With reservations?
Reservations.
So ordered. Is there further discussion? Okay, if not, 483. Representative Motz, strike that. Next page, 44, 45, 486. Representative Okimoto.
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Representative Capella.
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Okay, 487, 488. Next page, 489, 490. Representative Capella.
On 489,
Yes, please proceed.
with reservations, please.
So ordered. Further discussion on 489.
Mr. Speaker.
Pruso. Representative Pruso,
Thank you. With reservations, with a brief comment,
please proceed.
I am concerned about this bill because the HG2 still does not provide protection against discrimination, and the advocates are calling for stronger language. So with this in mind, as it moves forward, hopefully we can add that protection.
Okay, Representative Wildberger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Same request.
So ordered. Further discussion? If not, 490, 491, 492. Representative McDermott.
No vote, Mr. Speaker.
So ordered. Representative Matsumoto.
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Representative Ward,
No vote, please. Brief comment.
please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, this bill is conceived with good intentions. I mean, we want to treat anybody with HIV, but we don't want to fracture the family in doing that, because the long-term relationship between the person that identity is being protected is obviously going to be, when the parents do find out, inevitably they will find out that the child has HIV. So this, to me, is kind of a wedge between parental authority and government authority, or what physicians in their Hippocratic oath. There's nothing bad that's going to happen, generally speaking, when parents love their kids and their kids need their nurturing, if they're sick or whatever. But this one puts that wedge there, and I don't think that's good for the family, which we have now weakened so much and given the government so much power that this is just another one in that direction. I think we need to stop it. Thank you, Speaker.
Representative Okimoto.
Reservations, please.
So ordered. Further discussion on 492. Okay, if not, next page, 493, 494, 495, 496.
Mr. Speaker?
Representative Tokioka.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Reservations?
So ordered.
Thank you.
Further discussion, Representative Okimoto.
Same request, please.
So ordered.
Mr. Speaker,
Representative Matsuyoshi.
with reservations.
So ordered. Further
Mr. Speaker?
discussion, Representative Har.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Same request.
So ordered. Okay, further discussion? If not, next page, 497, 498. Representative Capella?
No vote, please.
No vote, so ordered.
Mr.
Representative
Speaker?
Ganadin?
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Wildberger? Representative Pruso?
No vote, please.
So ordered. Representative Lopresti?
Reservations.
So ordered. Further discussion? If not, 499. 500. Next page, 501. Representative Capella?
No vote, please.
So ordered. 502.
Mr. Speaker,
Representative Pruso
with reservations.
on 502.
501.
501. Representative Pruso, so ordered. Representative Wildberger on 501.
Same request. 501 reservations, please.
So ordered. Any discussion on 501? Okay, if not, 502, 503, 504. Next page, 505, 506, 507, 508. Next page, 509, 510, 511, 512. Next page, 513. Representative Capella.
No vote, please.
So ordered. Representative Pruso.
No vote, please.
So ordered. Representative Todd.
With reservations, thank you.
So ordered.
Mr. Speaker,
Representative
McKelvey.
McKelvey.
Yeah, sorry. Reservations, please.
So ordered. So further discussion. If not, 514, 515, 516. Next page, 517, 518, 519. Representative Capella.
No vote, please.
So ordered. 520. Next page, 521, 522. Representative Okimoto.
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Okay, next, 523, 524. Next page, 525, 526, 527, 528. Next page, 529, 530, 531, 532. Next page, 533, 534, 535, 536. Representative Capella.
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Further discussion on 536? If not, next page, 537, 538, 539. Representative McDermott?
No vote, Speaker.
So ordered. Representative Okimoto?
Reservations, please.
So ordered. Okay, 540. Next page, 541, 542. Representative McDermott?
No vote, Speaker.
So ordered. Further discussion on 542? If not, 543. Representative McDermott?
No vote, Speaker.
So ordered. Representative
Mr. Speaker?
Okimoto? Representative Okimoto?
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Representative
Mr. Speaker.
Matsumoto?
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Representative Tokioka?
Thank you. With reservations.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Representative Ward?
Same request. Thank you.
Reservations? So ordered.
Mr. Speaker,
Representative Har?
with reservations, please.
So ordered. Further discussion on 543? If not, 544. Representative Quinlan?
No vote, please.
So ordered. Representative Capella?
No vote, please.
So ordered. Representative Lepresti?
Reservations.
So ordered. Representative
Speaker?
Ganadin?
No vote, please.
So ordered. Representative Tam?
With reservations.
So ordered. Representative Kitagawa?
With reservations.
So ordered. Representative Martin?
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Representative Lowen?
With reservations, please.
So ordered. Representative Okimoto?
No vote, please.
So ordered. Representative Matsumoto?
Reservations.
So ordered. Is there further
Speaker?
discussion? Representative McKelvey?
Yes, reservations for now. We'll see what happens at third reading.
Okay, so ordered. Further discussion on 544.
Mr. Speaker,
Representative Dwalberger?
no vote, please. Thank you.
So ordered. Representative Prusso?
No vote, brief comment. I think that I'm concerned about this bill. I'm opposing this bill because it assumes that the Land Use Commission is a barrier to affordable housing. And I think it's not often that we see the Farm Bureau and the Sierra Club in agreement. And on this measure, they're both in opposition. So I think that it's a signal that maybe we should reconsider the assumptions underlying this measure. Mahalo.
Okay, is there further discussion on 544? Okay, if not, next page, 545, 546, 547, 548, 549. Next page, 550.
Speaker.
Representative McDermott?
No vote, please.
So ordered. Representative Okimoto?
Same request, please.
So ordered. Further discussion on 550.
Mr. Speaker,
Representative Har?
please note my reservations.
So ordered. Representative Matsumoto?
With reservations.
So ordered. Okay, 551. Representative Quinlan?
Mr. Speaker, no vote and permission to insert written comments.
So ordered. Representative McDermott?
Reservations. Thank you.
So ordered. Representative Capella? Okay, please proceed. Your microphone is not on.
In opposition, Mr.
Okay.
Speaker.
Okay, so ordered. Please proceed.
A living wage is a human right. According to the self-sufficiency study conducted by the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism, a minimum wage worker needed to earn over $19 per hour to survive in Hawaii last year.
According to the National Low Income Housing Coalition's most recent out-of-reach report, minimum wage employees must work 114 hours per week, roughly the equivalent of 3 full-time jobs, in order to afford a one-bedroom apartment here in the state. Last year, as working families struggled to recover financially from the pandemic, the median price of a single-family home in our state surpassed $1 million, as property investors just continue to use our islands as their own private monopoly board. Working families need relief now. They cannot afford to wait until 2030 to earn enough money to survive, as this bill proposes. This isn't about money. It's about people. It's about the people in our communities. It's about the people in my community who can't afford their rent, who struggle to pay their bills, and who don't know if they're going to be able to feed their own children tonight. If we truly care about the most vulnerable members of our community, then we cannot, in good conscience, tell them that they have to wait another decade to earn what our own government says they needed to earn just to survive last year. We continuously guarantee our constituents that we will put people before profit. Now we finally have that chance. Senate Bill 2018 crossed over to the House and is waiting for action. It raises the minimum wage to $18 per hour by 2026 and has a clean date. We should refer Senate Bill 2018 to committee. We should hear it. We should send it to the governor's desk as quickly as possible. Doing so would send a clear message that we are committed to putting people's needs before corporate greed and delivering hope to all in our state. I wholeheartedly support some of the tax credits and the provisions in this bill, like making the earned income tax credit permanent and refundable, and increasing the food credit. Other vehicles, though, are moving through both chambers in the House and the Senate to address those issues, and we can pass those to deliver the tax fairness that Hawaii's people need and deserve. This year, let's not run away from change. Let's find the audacity to overcome political interest for the sake of the public interest. And let's act swiftly to uplift the fortunes of working families who will never attain a basic survival wage if this bill becomes law. Working families are the backbone of our economy. They deserve immediate support now, not another decade of broken promises. And that's why I'm in opposition to this bill, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Representative Takumi.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Lopresti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In support.
Please proceed.
Well, first, I'd like to incorporate the words of the speaker from the Big Island as if they were my own, but I vote in support. The working people of this state deserve a significant pay raise. I know that there's some pressure to vote with reservations and no on this, but the way I see a vote on second reading, Mr. Speaker, is that we're voting on whether or not to send this bill on to the next committee. And I have faith in the process and in my colleagues in the Finance Committee that they're going to improve this bill. There are some really good things in here that I couldn't, in good conscience, vote against. The refundable earned income tax credit in Part 2, the expansion of the food tax credit in Part 3. Part 4, I think, needs the most work. I agree SB 2018 would be much better. And I fully expect, again, the Finance Committee will help improve this part of the bill. I also expect, Mr. Speaker, if this bill moves over to the Senate, that they'll probably substitute Part 4 with what they put in 2018, SB 2018. Part 5 expands the eligibility for household independent tax credit. That's great. Part 6 helps to educate citizens about withholding options, so you don't need a PhD in economics and taxes to understand how taxes work and how you can save your family money. For these sorts of reasons, I think this bill takes concrete steps to improve the quality of life for working families, and I cannot in good conscience vote against a minimum wage increase. Thank you.
Okay, Representative Ganadin.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative
Speaker?
Tam. Representative Tam.
With reservations.
So ordered. Representative Matsumoto.
With reservations.
So ordered. Representative Wildberger. Representative Wildberger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In support, please.
Please proceed.
Brief comment. As many of you know, I've championed a $15 minimum wage since I came to the House in 2019. I had high hopes that my story as a small business owner, already paying that wage since 2015, would help move this issue. Well, albeit late to the game and behind the market, I'm thrilled to see this body endeavoring to bring higher wages not just $15 an hour, but $18 an hour eventually to working families across the state. In Hawaii, we have arguably the highest cost of living. It's exacerbated by the pandemic impacts for the last 2 years. This wage relief, combined with the refundable earned income tax credit, will be a welcome step up for struggling families trying to make ends meet. Thanks, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Dale Kobayashi.
In support, comments?
Please proceed.
So I've heard a lot of criticisms on this bill from both sides. There are hopes for me that we can fix some of the problems with this bill by amending it in future committees. So I take a similar position to some of the prior speakers that let's try to get this through and see if we can fix some of the issues like not doing it until 2030 to get to $18, $1 a year for 8 years. I think we can do better than that. Also, maybe some not the same increase for the tax, the tip credit, which allows sub-minimum wage to be paid to tip receiving employees, and also taking a look at increases where we've adjusted that to only increase the wage based on average wages that employers might decide to pay, rather than the CPI, which reflects actual cost of living for people. So these are all issues that hopefully we can address with future amendments. I'm just kind of realistic on it that we have far less ambitious wage bills in the non-election year that were not passed. This is our chance to get it when we're trying to do bills like this in election year. I think we take what we got here. So that's the basis for my support for this. Thank you.
Representative Prusso.
In opposition with brief comments.
Please proceed.
In my view, this vote is about trust. Over the last several years, as long as I've been in office and prior to that, working class people in Hawaii have been hurting. And throughout this time period, they have continued to put their trust in us. And on opening day, we as a body really stood before the people of Hawaii and committed to fight for them by making the EITC refundable and permanent and by raising the minimum wage to 2018. They heard our promises. My community heard our promises, and they're trusting us to make good on those promises. I think to operate in good faith, we really need to radically amend this bill so that these changes happen sooner. The expectation of my community is not that they would have to wait until 2030. I think for that reason, this bill threatens to betray the trust that my community has put in me. I agree with previous speakers. This bill does make important steps in the right direction around EITC, making it refundable and permanent. But I just think we have to go further and we have to do better, and we can. So I trust that the House will be the body that comes up with the best measure for the state of Hawaii. And this bill is not it. For that reason, I vote in opposition.
Representative Ward.
Thank you, Speaker. I have, with reservations and a brief comment.
Please proceed.
Speaker, we tend to treat something the way we call it. If this is a living wage, it's too low. If it's a training wage, it's too high. What's the reality here? Well, the reality is, if you listen to what the Chamber of Commerce and the retail merchants have said, hey guys, the timing is not good. We're basically surviving, and now we want to hit them with a minimum wage. Now remember, for those of you who think of only the employer as the bad guys, they are the ones who hire the people that give us wages. Our economy is 30% government, about 70% private sector. So we got to keep the private sector alive. So we got to know what the timing is. The second thing is, if we're going to have young high school kids starting out at $18, some of these guys are just going to shed employees, or they're not going to hire them. Or they're going to cut back hours of some. The point is, they got to survive. They have to adjust. And right now, they're having the most difficult time to survive. Some people tend to forget also that we have mandated health care, Mr. Speaker. That adds $3 to $4 per hour. Right now, according to the highest paid minimum wage in the nation is Washington, D.C. at $15.20. New York City is $15. If we take ours, the $3 to $4 to $5 on top of our minimum wage, we are, without even this bill, one of the highest, if not the highest in the nation. Because most states don't have mandatory health care. That is a very key issue. But Mr. Speaker, let me back up and look at really the wide angle of what we're talking about. I was particularly impressed with the Big Island representative's speech. What we have is a failure of this economy to meet the needs of our people. If we are the progenitors or the architects of the economy, we have failed, Mr. Speaker. 48% of our people, and I said earlier the ALICE study, I just can't get that out of my system. 48% are one paycheck away. I make it as a metaphor of the family of 8. This guy's got a job, he's got 8 kids, 3 he can feed, okay. 2 are on rations, and the other 3 are totally food bank or welfare. Our economy doesn't fit the size of the needs of our families. We've got to work on economic diversification. We've got to work on higher jobs. And I've said so many times on this floor, we have the opportunity to create a pharmaceutical industry with high-paying jobs that does COVID-19 testing, and we've kind of sat on our hands. We've got to be a bit more entrepreneurial. We've got to be a bit more sympathetic to those who don't have the wages per hour to do have the wages per hour. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I would say in all humility, we as representatives make $32 an hour, and that's certainly something that's not in this bill, but is one of the statistics. So $15.20 DC, $15 for New York City, and probably the equivalent in Honolulu with health benefits. Thank you.
Representative McDermott.
Mr. Speaker, just to amplify my reservations, I don't want them to be construed as any way negatively towards the chair. I know he's trying to find a balance and strike an even temper. And so my reservation is simply for me to tag it and keep an eye on it as it makes its way through. I know the chair and the committee are doing the best they can. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Representative Okimoto.
No vote, please.
So ordered. Further
Mr.
discussion.
Speaker.
Representative Tokioka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In support, I do have some concerns on this second reading bill, but if I can get permission to enter those comments into the journal, I'll do it that way. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So ordered. Representative Matsumoto.
Still in reservations, but just permission to insert comments into the journal.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker?
Representative Har.
No vote. May I please request permission to enter comments into the journal?
So ordered. So further discussion on
Speaker?
Representative McKelvey.
Yes, in support and like the words of the speakers from EVA and South Maui, entered into the record as if they were my own, hits the nail on the head insofar as how I feel with this vehicle moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, that's so ordered. There's further discussion on 551.
Mr. Speaker, one more brief
Representative
comment.
Wildberger.
Thank you. I would just like the record to show that benefits are not wages. People cannot pay their rent or buy groceries with benefits. Businesses have been paying prepaid health care for over 50 years. Just like work comp, it's a cost of doing business. You cannot call benefits wages. Thank you.
Okay, is there further discussion on 551? If not, we're on 552. Any discussion on 552 or any other measure? Okay, if not, we'll be taking a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The motion is carried. We're on item 6. Third reading. The motion to suspend. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the rules of the House in order to consider certain House bill for third reading by consent calendar.
Representative Matsumoto.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The motion is carried. Representative Bellotti.
Speaker, I move that House Bill number 2272, House Draft 1, as listed on page 23, pass third reading.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Is there any discussion on this measure? Representative Lopresti.
Strong support.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this is a really important measure, and actually, I should ask for a ruling on a potential conflict. I apologize.
Please state your potential conflict.
I'm the president of a homeowner association.
The ruling is no conflict, and it's in effect through Sunny Day.
Thanks. The reason I stand up on this, Mr. Speaker, is I think this is one of the most important actual affordable housing bills we're going to pass, I hope, out of the legislature this year, because what it does is it requires developers to do a study to determine what the real cost of the housing is going to be. There's been so many projects. In fact, I can't think of a single project in the history of the state where the developers have done a really good job of estimating for the consumer what it's going to cost to own a unit when then it's a condo or a townhome like where I live. Because inevitably what happens, Mr. Speaker, is when those associations are turned over to the people who live there, not just run by the developer, the prices skyrocket. The prices skyrocket because there were bad estimates, if we can even call them estimates, as to what it would really cost for maintenance fees and the like. And I believe this bill will help to address that. One of the things I'd like to see improved before this passes into law, and I hope the Senate looks at this in particular, is that it can be greatly improved if we require an independent third party to make those estimates. Otherwise, we might be setting ourselves up to have another bill for years down the road when perhaps an unscrupulous developer, I'm sure such things are fictions, but they might just make up numbers that qualify and meet some loophole in this law, but really fail to meet the intent of the law. So I do hope that the Senate and that our House colleagues can make sure that it's an independent third-party review and not just something by the developer. Thank you.
Okay, is there further discussion? If not, we'll be taking the vote. For the floor vote, Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, on the measure before us, all majority members vote aye.
All right, for the Representative Matsumoto.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the measure before us, all minority members vote aye.
Okay, for the remote members, are there any no votes? For the remote members. Okay, if not, members, have all votes been cast? If so, said House bill passes third reading. We're on item 7. Mr. Clerk, are there any resolutions for action?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we have for action House Resolution number 9, establishing a commission to improve standards of conduct. This resolution is offered by you, Mr. Speaker, and many others.
Representative Bellotti.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adopt House Resolution number 9.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All right, members, is there any discussion? Representative Prusso.
Well, I just wanted to say that I support this resolution. I think it's really important that we create this commission, this external commission, and I have a lot of confidence in the people who have been named to it. And I'm excited to examine their findings.
Representative Ward.
Thank you, Speaker. I have a yes vote with a couple of comments, which means with reservations.
Please proceed.
This bill is very, very, very needed. It's very timely. We have been embarrassed by what happened last week and the week before, and which actually started years and years ago. But this is the equivalent of having a commission that says, look, when you see a car thief, they walk by a car and the keys are in the car, we only then look at the car thief as the issue, the behavior of the car thief. And this commission is going to look at behavior and what the structure is, but I think we need to look at what is it when the structure of the situation, i.e. the keys are in the car, that we need to pay attention to also. And Mr. Speaker, I do this with all respect, that the structure of our committee system that concentrates, and this is a bit of what Gary Hooser said, concentrates power in so few people, is when you have a committee chairmanship. Look at the people who got the corruption charges. They were in those positions because there was no accountability or check and balance to them. And there's discipline where you don't want to lose the size of your office or the position that you have. That's, I know, too much inside baseball, but the public needs to know this. And particularly, the last issue that I would say that should be amended into this bill is that the way that we're doing our hearings almost conditioning testifiers to stand on their testimony because we want to get through it quickly. But if you're a member of the public, you don't get any testimony until the hearing is over, and then you can see it. And if everybody stands on their testimony, even we legislators don't get the testimony until 10 minutes before the hearings.
All right, Representative Ward, please confine your remarks to the resolution.
So I'm saying that that is a flaw, which means, okay, the guy who steals the car, you've got to teach them ethics, you got to pump it into their system to be more accountable. But if you got the structure of the situation where it makes these temptations happen, we're looking at only some of the symptoms rather than the cause. And that's the structure of our system needs to be more open to the public. It needs to be more transparent and accountable. If there was accountability, that would be it. And I know this is going to address that, but it's not the full picture, because it says you got to learn, you got to teach the thief in the car not to steal the car if the keys are in it. And I'm saying you got to look at the keys in the car. And this bill does not go that far. Therefore, it's good, but it's with a lot of flaws. Thank you.
Okay, is there further discussion? Representative Peruso.
I just wanted to point out that this resolution does call upon the commission to provide recommendations to further the goals of the Code of Ethics, lobbying laws, campaign finance laws, and other applicable laws and rules. So I think that it's important that we understand that our internal rules will also be subject to scrutiny, and I think that's really important, and I think that that is actually reflects a great deal of courage on the part of House leadership, and I applaud that. So I look forward to like pretty substantive recommendations.
Okay, Representative Dale Kobayashi.
Thank you. So just to take the example set by the
Representative Kobayashi, on support or opposition?
Support.
Support.
With reservations.
Reservations. Please proceed.
That's right. So to take the example by the representative from Hawaii Kai one step further, to me, this is more a situation of we're focused on stopping people from stealing cars while we have a state-sanctioned program that allows widespread theft of cars. So, we work on the margins about how to react to a situation where we have a couple of reps that were accused of taking money under the table. Now, what happens every day, which is really the elephant in the room to me, and that's completely illegal, is for people to give large campaign contributions, either personally, through PACs, through every relative they have, through their employees of the company, to politicians that can then legally take whatever action to support that donor. Now that is where pay for play and money in politics comes from. I think everybody knows that. So if we want to address the real issue, say we had campaign contributions limited to $20, $100. Problem solved, money's out of politics, pay for play is over. So there are obvious prescriptions to fix this, and I wish we would start taking a hard look at those. Thank you.
Okay, is there further discussion? Representative Ward.
Speaker, I want to commend the speaker or the person from Waihoa, the representative who said, well, we're going to look at our House rules. My point is to look at the House structure. And Mr. Speaker, some of us were here in the early 90s when, and some of you freshmen will be shocked at this, we didn't have voting in committees. There was no voting in this legislature. I mean, it shows how far we've come, but how much the power has been so centralized and the accountability has been lessened. And because of that, that's what happened in these last two instances of corruption. The point is, look at the structure of the situation. Function and design and all those things make a huge difference as the way people behave. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I would hope what the good representative from Waihoa said is true, and we will look at the structure of the legislature, we'll look at the way hearings are held, we'll look at the way the people are not really involved to the point of having immediate information to give feedback to the issues at hand in the hearings. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, is there further discussion? If not, we'll
Mr. Speaker?
Representative McKelvey.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to adopt the words of the speaker from Manoa. as if they were my own, and I totally agree with them. And actually, there are vehicles, Mr. Speaker, I think in JHA right now, that would provide an avenue to actually put some of these discussions into motion. So I hope that gets considered with all due blessing from my end, obviously, and because I believe there are things we can do now rather than waiting for a commission to make recommendations. But that being said, I support the measure. Thank you.
That was in support. Representative McKelvey?
Yes.
Okay. All right, is there further discussion? If not, we will take a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The motion is carried. Mr. Clerk, are there further resolutions for action?
Mr. Speaker, there are no further resolutions for action. May all others be referred to print.
So ordered. Okay, members, we're on item 8. Are there any announcements? Representative Aquino.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Filipino caucus members, if you haven't reached out to my office already, please do so for our festivities on Tuesday, the 22nd. Thank you very much.
Okay. Representative Okimoto.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to wish a huge congratulations to the Mililani High School girls soccer and boys basketball. Both the varsity teams were able to win the OIA championships, and we're very proud of our public education system. I want to congratulate them and wish them the best in the state tournament. Go Trojans.
All right, are there further announcements? If not, the chair has an announcement. Just as a reminder for committee chairs that today is the first lateral filing deadline. This deadline is for bills that need to move to their final committee. Please file your committee reports and drafts with the Chief Clerk's office by 9 p.m. this evening. For the motion to adjourn, Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow.
Representative Matsumoto.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The motion is carried. The House stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.